Good morning, guys. It is April the 3rd, and I want to take a little bit of time this morning and give you a brief update of the month of March, some things that were going on around here, and just so you can be in the know and that you can continue to pray for us. So, month of March was crazy. We had a lot going on leading up to Easter, but all in all, man, things are very good. So we did a little bit of a neighborhood blitz. See, I've got one of the cards here. We had some cards made. We're the new neighbors, and we're trying to capture those first few months here in this new building, and really kind of leverage that as we're the new neighbors, and we want to be good neighbors. We want to meet everybody that's right here around us. There's about, I don't know, I'm guessing there's probably a little more than 1,000 homes right here in this area, this kind of northeast quadrant. And we're trying to put some emphasis in there. So we had this whole thing planned. We're going to do a neighborhood blitz, and then it snowed like 6 inches the day we were supposed to do that. So we've kind of been piecing it together after that, but we're trying to make some strides there in meeting our neighbors and getting them involved, or at least getting them invited to be involved. Our church has done pretty well in March of making some food pantry connections. So I don't know if you've heard us talk about it much, but we now have a food pantry that runs every week on Monday nights from 5 to 7. And it's one of the things that New Beginnings Baptist Church was doing that they wanted to continue, and it's a phenomenal ministry. So that was going. That's been going in March, but what has happened is we've started adding some extra volunteers to that, and then we've had some restoration groups that have come in, and we'll do a meal on Monday night and invite the participants in the food pantry to come and sit down and eat with us and share their story and talk about life and the gospel and those kind of things, and it has been very good. We've seen quite a few connections made there. People have been sharing the gospel faithfully and praying for people faithfully, so that's always a good thing to see. We also had 2 volunteer groups that came in March. Andrew Kepperman and Josh Warren brought a BSU team up from Delta State, and the other little colleges down there, little community colleges down there. So they brought a great team up. There was about 20 of them, and they were working primarily in Lebanon, but we had a big paint party over here one day and got them to paint, and so they helped us tremendously over here get some things ready. And then Larry Beard led a team from Las Casas Baptist Church in Murfreesboro, Tennessee. So shout out to those guys. They did a phenomenal job. They were here last week. They were here as a team of 4 of them. They were here all week, and they put in some showers for us. So those things will be utilized this summer for volunteers, and we've even got a group that's supposed to be staying here in 2 weeks. They're not working with us, but they're making their way to Chicago, and they asked if they could stay. They're looking for a church with showers, and so we had the joy of telling them we do have showers and that they're welcome to use our building. So there's just a few things that are going on. I want to tell you a story, or not just any story, but let me tell you about a recap of what happened on Easter Sunday for us. And it's easy to miss. I was filling out another report a couple of days ago, and asking about, one of the questions was, what's God doing in your church? What's God doing among your congregation? And I started thinking about Easter, and it was really it was the day after. It was yesterday. It was the day after Easter. This is what was happening on Easter. So we had a good crowd. I don't know the number, 145, 150 ish people there. So we had a good crowd of people there. It was a great service. We had a really good Friday service, and we were ready for Sunday. And it worked well. It flowed smooth, and it was worshipful. We had a good crowd of people, and everything was kind of on point. We had quite a few first-time guests. There's tons of new faces, as is the case for Easter normally. But we had a bunch of new sanctuaries, not full, but was really fuller than it has been. A bunch of first-time guests. We took the morning to remember and celebrate the resurrected Christ, as did virtually all churches, all Christian churches that were meeting. So a very pointed service to remember and celebrate the resurrected Christ. At the end of the service, we got to commission Landon and Christina and the launch team for Restoration Lebanon. So we got to have a commissioning service for a church plant, our first church plant that will go out from us. They have a launch team of about 35. All of those aren't coming from Noblesville, but a chunk of them are. So we have to pray for them and to walk through sending them out. It was phenomenal. And then we got to, like, you think about all of that stuff that's happening on a Sunday morning. All that took place in a building that was given to us 3 months ago. We got no debt on the building right now. We don't owe anything. Building's paid off. We're working on figuring out what to do to to get things done. But right now we've got a paid off building that was just given to us, and all these things are happening in it. So all that to say, man, God is at work, and it is crazy to stop and to realize what is going on. And this is what I have to do. This is one way to pray for me and to pray for us in leadership up here. We have, there is the tendency to, or the temptation to measure, to begin to evaluate and measure things on a short scale. And I think we get in danger when we do that, of to come through and say, man, we're chasing this result, we're chasing this thing, and we want to evaluate this every few months, it seems like. I think it's a much healthier way to do it, to look at the long game, to move slow and patient and let faithfulness be the aim. So that's one of the things that we're trying to do, is we're trying to fight the tendency to measure things on too short a scale and say, look, where do we want this thing to be at the 5-year mark? We're 2.5 years in as a church, right? So where do we want this thing to be in the next 2.5 years? And so that's kind of what we're looking at, is trying to lay that out and work diligently and patiently and deliberately to that end. So I got a couple things I want you to pray for. A couple things I need you to pray for. One is Restoration Lebanon. They launch this Sunday. So April the 8th, we've got Restoration Lebanon will launch Sunday morning services, and they will continue on Sunday mornings. So pray for Landon Anderson and Landon and Christina Anderson. Pray for Rob and Abby Mendoza. Rob is an elder there. So Landon and Rob are both elders here in Noblesville, and we sent them out. So you got that going on. They've got a lot happening this week, so pray for them as they get started. Another thing, pray for us. Is like planting early while we're small is faithful, but it is costly. It is costly. We're sending out, I think, about 8 family units, all told, that will go to Lebanon. And we're excited that they're going. But what you lose are people. One, while you're small, you're fighting for people. But with those people comes a lot of different things. It's service in childcare rotations and outreach and all the things that happen with our church right now that we've got to replenish. Quite frankly, some of that is costly in financial return. You know, we're trying to help undergird the church in Lebanon, and you're sending out a bunch of people that are faithful and tithe, and that's a side that we don't talk about a whole lot, but that's the reality. And so pray for us that we would. We know we're going to operate in the red for a few months, and that's okay. We feel like that's faithful, and we're going to walk on through that. But that we've got to grow, just where we are. So pray that God would be. We certainly know that God's faithful. Pray that God would find favor in what we're doing, and that He would continue to lead us in that direction. One more thing to pray for. So we've got an event on April 21st. It's a spring celebration. So instead of trying to do an Easter egg hunt in March when the weather's bad and all that stuff, And what do you do with the Easter Bunny? And just trying to not put that too close to the resurrection of Jesus so that it's distracting. But anyway, we're wrestling through that, and all things. At the end of it all, we decided to say, look, let's move it 3 weeks after Easter, and we'll do a big spring party, community cookout, spring celebration. So we've got that going on April 21st. So join us in praying for that. We're going to invite the neighborhood, and we're going to have a couple moon bounces and a cookout, and kind of follow up with some guests we had at Easter, and invite a bunch of new ones. So pray for us as we kind of endeavor that way, and we'll go from there. So thank you for praying for us and for partnering with us. There's no other way to do this. You have to have good partners, and you guys are that. So we're thankful for you, and we will talk to you soon.